Very good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all to today's WebEx program on attestation and certification by professionals, care, caution, and cost. And the speaker is none other than CA D. Prasanna Kumar, Central Council member from Vizag. And I request our President CA Ramdev Budra for his welcome address. Over to you, Ramdev.
Thank you, Ritesh. First, I welcome Sri Prasanna Kumar D. He is our best friend, colleague, and also guiding factor in all the ethical issues. Friends, today we have chosen this topic because recently we have seen there is a spurt in many financial and other institutions asking the persons to furnish a certificate from the auditor. In one case I have seen, even they have asked the birth certificate also to be attested by the auditor. And auditors, whether he is a tax consultant or a chartered accountant, irrelevant of that, simply they want signature and stamp. Of course, we know projected statements, provisional statements, net worth certificates, our tax audit reports, statutory audit reports, and other certificates like stock certificate. All those things are also being required to be furnished by the chartered accountants, because chartered accountants are authorized for attest function. What about other practitioners? They are also attesting returns and computations. In one sense, I can find when a person is submitting return online through his IP, indirectly he is attesting, not directly by signing, but indirectly. So in all these situations, there are various provisions in the Income Tax Act. Also, one new amendment has come, which says that any false entry in books or records or any abatement to that will also treat you as a equally guilty. In Companies Act, we know auditors have been made equivalent to the officers of the company for any default or any misstatement. So likewise, so many things are there. So it was a decision taken by office bearers to invite some expert. So in our view, we thought Prasanna Kumar is the best person because he is chairing in the institute disciplinary proceedings. So he knows better what consequences, because he is very much experienced seeing variety of cases, how people are behaving and how they are signing. So we want to know more from Prasanna Kumar sir, what precautions we have to take, that is care, what cautions we have to observe while signing anything, and what will be consequences or cost involved if we won't perform our duties diligently, simply signing anything though we are not signed. For instance, one thing I will want to share and confirm with Prasanna sir. Recently, just 2 months back, I have seen a circular from RBI. They have asked banks not to ask for any certification on projected figures from the auditors or unaudited statement. Despite of that, for renewal of limits or facilities, banks are insisting the auditors to certify the even returns also. I don't know how far it is correct. So we want to know more from Prasanna Kumar. I welcome all the participants who have joined. I want to share one brief information that we have another webinar on 17th at 1 p.m. The topic is new income tax portal functionality issues and solutions. Mr. Young chap is there who has done a lot of research on it and has also presented in several webinars on this issue only. Ujjwal Jindal is a chartered accountant and company secretary. He has consented to address us with physical demo of the site. So we hope that will also be very much helpful for all of us. And for that particular session, even our students can also learn a lot. So with this brief information, I welcome you all again with a special welcome. Already who is in Hyderabad. Just now he shared that he is in Hyderabad. So virtually we welcome you, Prasanna sir, to this webinar. Thank you very much. Over to Ritesh.
Thank you, Gupta, for your welcome address. Before we request our speaker, CA Prasanna Kumarji, for his presentation, I request CA Suresh Jain to introduce our speaker, Prasanna Kumarji. Over to Suresh Jain, sir. Sir, kindly unmute yourself. Yes, sir. Yes, you are unmuted.
I am audible?
Yes, sir.
Sir Ramdevji Bhutra sir, President, Tax Bar Association, Honorable Speaker, C. Prasanna Kumarji sir, Office Bearers of Tax Bar Association, dear members, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everybody, and warm welcome, Prasanna Kumarji. Very warm welcome to you and to all the participants. Friends, my good friend, Mr. Bhutra, he is the president of Bar Association, and I have to obey his orders. He has assigned me the task of introducing our today's speaker, Sri Prasanna Kumarji. Sir, you in fact need no introduction. We in fact need no introduction, at least in the chartered accountants and tax professionals fraternity, that too in Hyderabad. Introducing a personality, known personality, dedicated and most versatile personality to our own fraternity is not only difficult, sir, but it is most difficult task. So Ramdevji is taking my examination now. I am very much sure that all the participants attending today's webinar knows Prasanna sir very well, as he is very active since his student days in all the activities of our institute. As a student, he held number of positions in the student association. Then in the branch also, he served Visakhapatnam branch as treasurer, secretary, and vice chairman. He also held various positions in the SIRC for 9 years and was chairman of SIRC during the year 2013-14. As you all know, he has been elected as Central Council member for the period 2019-22. Now, he is holding position as the vice chairman of committee for members in practice, vice chairman of career counseling committee, and also member of all standing committees, namely executive committee, examination committee, disciplinary committee, finance committee, and some other committees. He is also presiding officer of board of disciplinary committee for 2 consecutive years. He delivered lectures in many seminars, conferences, and organized by ICI on various topics such as bank audits, company law, code of conduct, disciplinary cases, industrial policies, and budget analysis. I myself have attended number of seminars and conferences where Mr. Prasanna Kumar presented the papers, and I am one of the admirer of his presentation in those conferences. Apart from institute activities, he being volleyball, he and his wife both are keen follower of sports. He being volleyball player himself, he was chief coordinator for 4th Asian Youth Volleyball Championship and 13th World Under-19 Volleyball Championship. He was manager of Indian volleyball team to Qatar. At present, he is General Secretary, Andhra Pradesh Triathlon Association, Vice President, Roller Skating Federation of India, Associate Vice President, Andhra Pradesh Olympic Association. With regard to academic and professional side, he is a Bachelor of Geology. See his qualifications. He is Bachelor of Geology from Loyola College, Chennai. He is a MA Sociology from Venkateshwara University, Tirupati, and then he became member of the institute in the year 1984. His son and daughter-in-law are also chartered accountant and practicing along with him. His daughter is MS Electronics from New York City and is working for a multinational company at Hyderabad. That's why Prasanna Kumar like Hyderabad. Whenever he visits, he meet his daughter. Friends, we are really very fortunate and lucky to have him amongst us today to enlighten us on the topic attestation and certification by professional, care, caution and caste. Ramdevji has explained very clearly the importance of this topic in today's circumstances, which is practical experience. As a member of disciplinary committee and code of conduct, I hope we will certainly get enlightened on the subject that is today's topic. With this, friends, I am very much thankful to President and members of BAR for giving me this opportunity to introduce such a versatile personality, Shri Prasanna Kumar ji, and with very much proud, I present Shri Prasanna Kumar ji to you. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you once again, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Over to Prasanna, sir.
Ritesh, am I audible? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Ritesh, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. Yeah. Yes. Respected CA Ramdev Bhuttaraji, the President of Telangana State and Andhra Pradesh Tax Bar Association, and CA Ritesh Mittal, the former Regional Council member and the Secretary of the Tax Bar Association, CA Amrit Kumar Kota, the former President of Tax Bar Association, CA Suresh Kumar Jainji, member of the committee, and my dear members of the Tax Bar Association. So good evening to all of you. Good afternoon, good evening. It's my proud privilege today for you on a very important topic, which is going to be covered now on the attest functions and certifications issued by the professionals. Whatever care we need to take, whatever caution we should take, whatever cost to be incurred and to be recovered. So this is a good topic that has been chosen. As friends, all of you know, the Tax Bar Association has been very active, particularly during the COVID pandemic. It has become so famous. So gone are the days when I used to look at BCAs and PCAs for very good programs which are useful to day-to-day practice. But the tax profession has been conducting so many programs which are very much useful to not only chartered accountant practitioners, but also the allied professional practitioners who are into practice of the fiscal law. So they have done a lot of programs. And as it was announced just now also, one more program I have, which is also very important program, which will be useful to all our members. Friends, while I appreciate for all the effort that have been put in by the managing committee of the Tax Bar Association, I look forward that they should come out with small publications, so that the layman can also understand. Those who coming to the new into the practice also will get certain benefits. So Ramdev Bhuttaraji is so active. You go to any program, so anywhere he attends that one. He's a good listener. As we know, a good leader has to be a good listener. Then only that will pay the way for being a good leader. So that's why he gets great ideas to conduct many programs for our use. Friends, having said that, coming back to our topic today. So in his initial remarks, So Ramdevji, he has very nicely pointed out certain certificates, certain report that need to be given by chartered accountant other professions. So no, I'm just limiting because we're all tax professionals. We're all be it chartered accountant as far as today's topic is concerned. So, but more or less, all these certificates and the reports that are required to be given are related to chartered accountants, and there is whatever is governed for that particular purpose. So that those things were to cover a little, so that we'll have an overall idea about the standards which come under a way to be complied with. So Ramdev Putaji has rightly said, there's one comment he has made. Suppose you upload the income tax return of an assessee, your client. He comes to your office, you upload a return. So that letter, you don't have an engagement letter. Simply they come, they ask you to file the return of income with the information given by them. We don't even look into the veracity of the information, because they say I got income from other sources. I got 15,000 rupees. We simply put 15,000 rupees without ascertaining whether it is real income or more income or no income, whatever. We don't look into that thing, because we are not giving assurance service there. We are not giving any certificate there. It's only simply uploading the data. So this where, he has very rightly pointed out, suppose we don't take an appointment letter. It is very, it is, speaking from a podium, speaking in a meeting is very easy, that you need to have appointment letter, engagement letter for everything, but practically it will not be possible. But I'll tell you the importance of that. So he has mentioned that, without an appointment letter, we file the return of income, and it is filed from our office, from our IP. It becomes evidence that you are involved in this particular thing. Tomorrow, there may be a situation where the client himself will file a case. If something goes wrong somewhere, he will say, I assign this particular job to my chartered accountant to see that my income tax is compiled properly and uploaded properly. So we complying with the law of the land. I asked my auditor to do it. Thereby, it resulted in some consequential proceedings in the Income Tax Act. When such thing comes, why I'm quoting this is a practical case which has come up our board itself. Before our board, this case has come, where the client has said, I never want to cheat the government of India. I'm a honest citizen of this country. I want to comply with the law of the land. But when I gave the information, it is my chartered accountant who was not looking to that one. Then the chartered accountant said, sir, I am never there's no appointment letter for me. There's no fees was paid to me. Nothing else done. So how I am? She came, sir, there's a proof that from his IP, this return has been filed. And I paid the fees also. He has taken cash fees also. So what is going to happen? Like that, the discussion went on in the board. So both the respondent and the complainant, everything went on. But ultimately, see, that lady, the assessee, she came with certain details stating that my income from savings bank account is only 1,400 rupees, whereas it has been stated in my books as for 14,000 rupees or 15,000 rupees, or maybe 11,000, whatever it is, something beyond 10,000 rupees. It has been done. So who is responsible? So is the chartered accountant who should have looked into my savings bank account and ascertained from where I got it, but simply they have put the blunt figure. Therefore, he is not carried out his duty properly. So like that, so why I'm telling you this case, I'm not trying to give a fear psychosis. So we're all allied professionals. We know what we are doing right. We never do wrong things. Knowingly, we'll never do that one. But client, we believe in the client's relationship, but it's not permanent. Those days are gone, are the days when the loyalty used to pay. Even if loyalty of the client used to be, today is not there. It's a commercial relationship. So we treat the client as our own person, but client never sees the auditor as his own person, because he sees it's a commercial relationship. If it doesn't perform, leave him, go to somebody else. That is the order of the day. Keeping that in view, I'm not, as I told you, no fear psychosis. Let us be a little more cautious. That's what is there, care, caution. It's more cautious we should be there whenever we do any function, because when time comes, your client, he'll take you for a toss. He will never stand by you. Not all, but many of them. That is the situation, that's the culture today. Then comes, you're talking about Reserve Bank of India has come with the projected financial information. Chartered accountants, if you see the ethical standards of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, ethical standards state that chartered accountant cannot give you the assurance on a statement, the result of which depends upon a future happening. if something is going to happen in future, based
Prasanna Kumar sir, you are disconnected actually.
आवाज नहीं आ रही।
पावर फेलियर था सर, अभी रीजन हो रहा है सर।
डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया सर।
ओके ओके।
yeah, Ritesh, now I'm audible. No?
Prasanna, you are audible.
Yes sir.
Yeah. There's some power problem was there. Power connection went off. Net also, I lost the net also in the house.
रितेश भाई सबकी वीडियो ऑफ कर दो, प्रसन्ना साहब को ऑन रखो, आ जाएगा।
Yeah. So now audible, sir?
Prasanna sir, we lost your video again, sir.
Just a minute.
Yes, sir.
Suddenly power went off. It just... Shift the entire thing because no power. Please bear with me.
You can join from your phone otherwise.
Sir, you can join from your phone, sir. Yes, sir. We are able to see you, sir. This way is good, sir. I did catch it. Correct. Can...
Yeah. So I think now I'm able to see all of you.
Yes, sir.
I'll put off my video.
Okay.
So it connected. Yes, sir. Ramdev Garu.
Yes sir. Please proceed as it is, sir.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
You can proceed as it is.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'm going now. Yeah. So now, to you about the Reserve Bank of India. So Reserve Bank of India, so they came with a circle, maybe that the prospective financial information need not be taken from a chartered accountant. I'll come to a little later. The future projections, normally as I told you, something has happened in future, which is subjectivity. On future happening, your certificate it cannot be done. That is the ethical standards from the Institute of Charters of India. But however, as far as prospective financial information is concerned, we can do that one. There's a standard for that. I'll take you through that a little later. Then certificates, as far as certificates are concerned, my dear friends, there's n number of certificates which are to be given by a chartered accountant on various aspects, particularly in the banking sector. So the arrival of the banking sector, particularly the Axis Bank, the ICICI Bank, and HDFC Bank, those banks, the moment they came, they started taking number of certificates from chartered accountants, whether relevant to their profession or not. The provisional financial statement, an auditor can give only audited financial statement. He himself is known as auditor, but he cannot give something unaudited, cannot be certified by him. But still, these are the banks, they insist that we need to certify their provisional financial statements also. And then the projected statement, I'll discuss it later. And also for the projected statement, there's something known as CMA, that is credit monitoring arrangement, which also does the analysis of the balance sheet, does the analysis of profit and loss account. Even that is also need to be done by a chartered accountant. Apart from that, as Ramdev Bhuttaraji, he was telling, net worth certificate, stock and receivable certificate, and the USA, Australia, Canada, and UK, these are for net worth certificate. And income certificate and utilization of funds. The utilization of funds. So whether it has been utilized for the purpose for which the road has been sanctioned or not, that needs to be certified. And introduction of funds. Suppose you have to bring in, what called funds for margin money, maybe unsecured loan with short term, and then share capital or properties capital, partners capital, that also need to be certified. That all of us are aware that there's acknowledgement for the income tax return. It's the idea. Also need to certify the chartered accountant publicity and authenticate that. The income certificate, a turnover certificate, a number of cases where a turnover certificate is demanded from a chartered accountant for the purpose of tendering and other purposes. Like that, if we go on adding the certificate, what we need to give, we are arrived at some 37 certificates are being off. Other than all what we need to take. That is the topic for today. So once friends were to understand all these aspects which I have told you just now, Ramdev, I think the power has come. I get connected to my laptop.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That
Yeah,
will
I'll
be
just
fine.
take a minute only. I'll get connected to my laptop. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Quality control, there's only one standard, SQC1. This is the mother of all the standards. Auditing assurance, this is the mother. What type of quality control should have? What type of organizational structure we should have within the organization, right? From ethical standards up to engagement partner and quality review partner. All those things are prescribed in SQC1. Then comes the framework for assurance services. So the chartered accountants will give audit and assurance services. Audit and assurance services are mainly related to the. That means the year has passed by, 2021 year is over, and we can do audit of the 2021 or review all these things can be done for a past data. That is known as the historical financial information. So in the historical financial information, there are two things. One is audit function, which are covered by the standards on auditing. We call it SA, standards on auditing. The second thing is review function. So which is review function is known as standards on review engagements, SRE. Standards on review engagement, SRE. Next function is non-historical data. That is the data, information or engagement other than the audit and review of the historical data. They are known as the future projections, the assurance service that they give. They are known as standards on assurance engagement. Standards are they are known as SAE. Then the last framework is framework for related services. Related services include certain things known as agreed upon procedures. We call it AUP, agreed upon procedures. And the compilation engagements. Compilation engagement. These are known as SRS. They are on related services. So these are the four frameworks that we have. And then SQC1 is the mother of all. standards on auditing, standards on review, standards on assurance engagement, and standards on related services. So the entire our framework goes all within this particular framework. I'll tell you what is the difference between these four items. SQC is anyway, that's the mother of there's quality control. When you come to auditing, when you conduct an audit and give a report, that audit services give high assurance level, high assurance, not absolute. Absolute assurance is given only in case of certificate. Certificate is the one where 2 + 2 is equal to 4. It cannot be anything else. It has to be 4 and 4 alone. That is a certificate. That is absolute assurance. In an audit report, be it a statutory audit, any audit, we don't give a absolute assurance. You want a high degree of assurance is given. Then when you give the report format, the report is given a positive assurance that you give in our opinion, in my opinion, based on information provided, based on whatever the audit have conducted, the accounts, the financial information is a true and fair view. That the opinion you give is a positive affirmation. Then comes the review and assurance. The review and other assurance services, that is SRE and SAE, they are concerned. So they give moderate assurance, not high level assurance. The moderate assurance is given, and it's a negative affirmation. In sense, there we write, we don't write in our opinion is a true and fair. We write a negative affirmation stating that nothing has to come my attention. Nothing has to come my attention to believe that there's a material misstatement. So that is how the review statements go. Then comes related service, which is very important for our topic today. SRS, standards on related services. They are agreed upon procedures. They are agreed upon. There's no assurance is given. We don't give an assurance at all. We are only giving a factual finding. Suppose in this agreed upon procedure, the management wants us to conduct, maybe stock verification, physical stock verification need to be conducted. We go conduct a physical stock verification, give them a report. There is fact finding, factual numbers are given, and we don't give an opinion there. We don't give any assurance there. It's only fact finding thing. Then comes compilation services. Compilation is also a data is provided by the management, data is provided to the client, and we compile the data and give a report thereon. We don't give an assurance. No assurance is given here whatsoever. It's only identification the information compiled, and not an attempt to verify. So this is the difference between these two things. So audit, high assurance, review and assurance, moderate assurance, related services, no assurance. So I'll take you through how these things are relevant and what is the relevance for the type of certificate that you give. Ramdev, he was telling one beautiful statement he made where in his initial remarks, no. Simple signature cannot be appended anywhere. There are some circumstances, maybe a provision data is given, maybe projected data is given, whatever certificate, can we just simply sign? Prasanna Kumar, I'll just sign, put my stamp, Prasanna Kumar Associates, proprietor, partner, can I sign? Just like that. No, even if you conduct the audit, even if you've done whatever the precaution to be taken, or whatever the procedures need to be followed, still you cannot simply sign. Something about should be there. That's why you go to any statement, you'll find as per the report of even date. We sign beneath that one. That whatever is prepared above my signature, be it a profit and loss account or a balance sheet or notes on account or disclosure, whatever, that's not done by the management. The client has done all those things. I have not done anything there. I'm only giving report of studying the entire information. That is the report is important. That is my report based on information given by them. So as per the report of even date or some date, put the date also there. This is what we say. So no chartered accountant can sign simply there. He has to write something there. So that is number one. Reporting. Suppose there are some situations where you find you sign a statement stating that as per the books of account, Prasanna Kumar will sign. As per the information explanation offered, we sign beneath that. I know as per the data compiled, we sign. No, all these things will not suffice at all. You need to give a report. For anything, you need to give a report. The report will clearly indicate whether you are giving assurance or not. If at all you giving assurance, what level of assurance you are giving, all those things should be compiled there. For any report, there's a management responsibility, there's the auditor's responsibility, then an opinion, and the intended user. These are the common factors which go into a report. All these things should be for each and every assignment that we take. Without that, if we simply sign, that goes to indicate that you are authenticating all the information above that. giving absolute assurance. Absolute assurance only certificate, as I told you. So otherwise, we will not be able to give at all. So that is the precaution we need to take. We cannot simply sign and report without the report cannot be done at all. Then comes the other one. I'll tell you true copy. You know, you have got ITRV. He goes for a some small loan or a credit card, anywhere he goes. They want the ITRV to be certified by chartered accountant. So my doubt is why at all we should do this job? This is a downloaded one from the networking from e-filing portal. You download and give this particular acknowledgement income tax from the income tax side. Why chartered account signature is required? I think you must have seen. I normally quote this particular example. The RT-PCR test is for COVID patient, COVID, whether you are COVID positive or negative to test that one. For getting into Mumbai, if you go to Mumbai airport, immediately they will ask RT-PCR test. RT-PCR test should not be more than 48 hours old. So what they do, then RT-PCR test, Prasanna Kumar is going there, and the example I'm quoting, RT-PCR test is negative. His negative report has come. So each time you go to Mumbai, you want one certificate that within 48 hours you should have. So how many times you go and take RT-PCR certificate, test? Simply what they do, what people do, they simply change the date. Suppose 21/7 are taken, and the second August, which is anything can be morphed. Morphing even is very easy using technology. And if like that, even if a ITRV, if the 2 lakhs is the income, putting another zero, make it 20 lakhs is not simple. Is a very simple thing using technology today. That is the reason why, all of them insist that a chartered accountant should sign, whether it's the true information or not. The income tax department, the logo, everything will be there, but data can be morphed. That is the reason they do it. And we think it is a professional advocate, I become a great advocate, all those things. Should I do all these small things? Never think like that. They ask, let us do it. Let us take our precautions. It's a professional opportunity. If somebody believes your signature has got value, be proud. You certify that one, take your precaution and charge the fees. And Ramdev constant you do it. There's a certificate, it's just a true copy. We are aware. True copies in normal circumstances, normal parlance can be given by gazetted officers or notary public. Others cannot do it. Normal circumstances. So why a chartered accountant can do it? Even in the ethical standards, the institute has told that true copy cannot be done. Authentic cannot be done by a chartered accountant. What else can be done? Yes, there is general purpose statements are there. I'll come to you in the end of my presentation where you can do that one. You don't call it true statement. There's something else to be written. You do that. But there's a certificate need to go. I mean, a report need to go. Do that and charge the fees also for that. So these are the precautions that we should take. At the moment you come to the provisional statements, as I told you, with the auditors, we have to certify only audited figures. With the provisional statement is something which is unaudited, provisional, and for which there's no, authentic information can be there. No audit is conducted. The moment they come to us, we say, "This is not my domain. I will not do it at all." Normally we say this one, but my dear friends, we can do that. We can. This is a professional opportunity, but it comes into standards on related services, SRS, where you are not giving assurance. You are not telling true and fair. You're not telling this reasonable assurance. No, this is no assurance at all. This is only compilation engagement. Compilation engagement can be done by chartered accountants. The provisional statements can be given by chartered accountants. It's a professional opportunity because the March 31st is over. By the time you get the company's audit done, or tax audit to be carried out, it may be 5 months, 6 months. In between, for some special purpose, maybe for bank loan purposes, or maybe some for merger proposal, demerger proposal, or probably like due diligence, anything you want, your provisional data to be certified and to be reported upon. We can do that one. We should do that one because we should never lose a professional opportunity because signature has got value. So these are the things I want to tell you. Now I'll take you through the proper thing. The first thing is I'll take you through the standards on related service, standard on assurance engagement, SAE. This is related to prospective financial information. That projected financials, projected financial information and CMA data, can we do or not? If we have to do, what need to be done? So there's a standard on assurance engagement for the prospective financial information that is known as SAE 3410. as per that particular standard, we can certify the future projections also. What are the things involved in this particular standard? So the level of assurance that we give, the level of assurance we give on this statement is a moderate level of assurance. It's not a no assurance, it's something little more than no assurance level we give. This particular standard says whatever the projection that you make it, the projections are made, the projections or the prospective information is compiled by the client. He makes a statement. This is my projection for the next year or next 5 years, and we project a profit and loss account, project a balance sheet. He prepares and comes to us. He says, these are the projections, you kindly give a report. So how do we verify that one? There's no base data is not available. How do you do that one? That is where we have to use our professional judgment and see that the best estimates have been made by them. And each and every estimate that is made by the assessee for the projected financial statements is based on historical assumptions. Why I use the word historical is there are certain assumptions. Suppose you say, for example, last year the turnover of 100 crores, and this year we will make a projection of 110 crores. So 10% increase is there. Then if you see the historical data says that year on year, the increase in the sales figure is, let us say, 8 to 12%. Probably 10% is a very reasonable figure. So based on historical data, we can conclude that this is achievable. Assumption is, I have done 10% in the past. I am projecting 10%, similar 10% on average for the future year. That is the hypothetical assumption based on historical data. That is permitted. Suppose another situation. Last year, the turnover of the company, the turnover of the entity was 100 crores. We want to make 150 crores this year. So 150 crores, 50% increase. Whereas if you see the historical data, it's only 10%. How suddenly you've gone to 50%? You have to ask, sir, why it has gone up to another 40%? What is the basis for that one? He has to come with some answer. If it doesn't have answer, what is the disclaimer? If he guess, suppose he may say, sir, I've been dealing with product A and product B. This year I'm doing product C. The product is going to get fetch me so much of turnover I go to make, thereby it has gone up 50%. So that's the assumption made. The assumption is the fact is including a product C. The assumption is that is going to make a turnover another 40 lakhs of rupees. So this is the assumption which needs to be written there. The basis is the product. New product is the basis, the source of information, and projection is the assumption. The source of information and projection, assumption, these two put together can be, it resulted in so much of sales. Let us say salaries, for example. Salaries last year, last year figure was 5 crores of rupees. This year they made 10 crores of rupees. So why such a long jump is there? So we have to make a discrete inquiry. The client may say, sir, I'm increasing another 100% increase is there because I'm going with the product C. I have to go with marketing. My marketing salaries will be so many people are recruit, and some assumption will be there. That is the assumption. The source is new area of marketing. Assumption is so many people are required for doing this material marketing. That is the assumption. Based on this estimate, best estimates and historical data and the source of information and assumption, we can give a report, state on the future financial statements also. But of course, we are all aware. Tomorrow, what is going to happen? Nobody can say. There is total 100% subjectivity, not even 1% objectivity. Is a total subjectivity. If at all there's one person who can say next year 100 crores turnover, 10 crores profit, God only can say. There's nobody else. And a chartered accountant advocate will not be able to do that job at all. So we can't say. But still, based on these assumptions, we'll be able to give a reasonable assurance for the statement that you are making. As I told you, when you prepare the prospective financial information, that's the projected financials, you must know where this particular statement is going to be used. Whether it is going to be used for the purpose of selling his business. I'm running a business. I want to sell my business. I make a projection. I want a business. I want to sell it to you. This is the projected turnover. This is the projected income. I am valuing my asset today. My business has so many crores of rupees. You please purchase my business. This is the basis. That is one purpose. Other thing may be he is giving a projection to see that he gets additional loan facility from the lenders. Or there may be a third situation. I'm already having a loan. I want to continue the loan at the same level, renewal. For all renewal or enhancement, selling the business, there may be n number of factors where you need a future, projected financial statements. So as an auditor, we must know that what is the purpose for which it is done. Because if you know the purpose, our thinking, our entire process of procedure involved will go toward that end, meeting the end goal. Suppose it's the loan purposes. What are the importance? Sales are important, turnover is important, and stocking pattern, current assets, stocking pattern, receivables pattern, or current assets pattern is very, very important there. And you want to expand the business for a term loan, you need to take a term loan. So that information, that relevant information about the addition to fixed assets and financing for the expansion scheme is very, very important. That's why you must know the purpose for which they are taking. Accordingly, we should put focus thereon. So as I told you, the operating cycle, suppose is a regular routine business, which is done day to day, year on year, they have been doing it. So you can give a projections for a year. For the year 21, 22, 22, 23 can give. Suppose the same thing, if the operating cycle, then suppose they are going real estate project. He wants to conduct 500 units of apartments. That project goes for 3 years. Then you can give a projected statement for 3 years put together. That is for a project, for taking project finance or for the purpose of getting you looping in a partner or investment, any purposes. So you can give a proper project. So the operating cycle is very important, whether annual information need to be given or a periodical, more than annual information also to be taken. So here, whenever you make each and every number that you see, you need to assess, come into your mind, what is the degree of reliability of the assumption? Assumption may be anything, but whether reliable, whether you can rely upon that assumption or not, you have to use the professional judgment, the general knowledge, the business knowledge, all those things need to be applied to ascertain that a reasonable level of degree of reliability of the assumptions are taken care of. Comparing the historical data, I told you that's very, very important for those existing units. If it's a new unit, historical data will not be there. You need to find out the source of the information. Maybe with the internet, like bold information. So on which information you're relying upon, our government policies, and so on and so forth. So ultimately, the underlying point in the entire projection is you have to see as a professional judgment whether any material misstatements are there. Apparent material misstatements are there. If they are not there, with the assumptions that we can go ahead. As I told you, source of information need to be noted down, and the basis of the assumption is very, very important. And evidence for the assumption, you rely upon certain information, that evidence need to be also kept with us, evidence for such assumptions. And last but not the least, you need to take the MRL, management representation letter, wherever they believe these are the assumptions on which I'm going, we need to obtain a MRL, management representation letter also. All this put together, once you do the entire exercise, we can give a report under SAE 3410 that future projected financial statements are not true and correct, but a negative information will be given. Like this, nothing has come to our attention. I told you earlier, nothing has to come to our attention that there's a material misstatement. There's a misleading information available. Like this information can be given for as per the standards and assurance engagement, SAE 3410. So this is what need to be done. Friends, whenever somebody comes, it's not a small assignment, it's a very big assignment. The moment projected P&L account, projected balance sheet is taken care of, then the next step is CMA. That is credit monitoring arrangement, where there's analysis of the profit and loss account and analysis of the balance sheet based on the past data and the future projection. That's a great assignment that can be done better done by the professionals like us, all of the beta advocates or chartered accountants will be able to do a very great job there. So that is also a very great assignment. Let's not lose this opportunity. The amount that because so much of knowledge gets into this one, so much documentation need to be done here, and so much of involvement, professional skepticism, and professional judgments are involved here. We can charge a very huge fees for this one, because so much of ingredients get into this one. Take this opportunity, follow the 3410, and do the give the report. I'll share you the 3410 is fine. The model reports are also there. If you want some model to be shared, I will do it. I got a model that I can share with you also. Today I did not have any proper presentation. The presentation what I have prepared for myself is more on auditing standards. That's not relevant for today's topic. That's why extempore I'm speaking today. Then comes, so the second item is standards on related services. Standards on related services, SRS. SR, the most important thing is SRS 4400. That is agreed upon procedures. Agreed upon procedures, like I told you one example, the physical inventory to be made, or is study to be made of receivables. So maybe a bank may ask, these are the receivables given by the ABC and enterprises. I want you to study the receivables and give a report. How do you do that one? We've got a lot of tests that need to be done. You take the information, the receivables amount, and you can compare with the ledger copy of that particular account and go to the ledger. Prima facie, you can find what are the purchases, services rendered, amounts paid, and what is the balance. You can make them. You can use a personal judgment and find out whether the reliability is there or not. If there's a purchase, see whether GST return reflect that amount or not. If it's a payment, it should have gone from the bank, whether proper amount has gone to that particular account or not. There are so many number of tests you can do. And also you can take confirmation from the parties and verify whether that confirmation letter or the statement of account statement, they match with these particular numbers or not. So like that, we do all this engagement, receivables. Like that, maybe some non-financial information also. They want to give assignment to the chartered account. We can do that also. All these things come under SRS 4400, which is, as I told you, standard on relative services, where we don't give an assurance. When we certify on receivables, or we do it a procedure for the physical inventory, no assurance is given. It's so neatly drafted report we have in the SRS that assurance is not there. Only thing is the compilation. I'm compiling the data based on the factual figures that I am finding it here. So I don't agree with any assurance. No risk is free. But at the same time, wherever you certify these type of, wherever you take up these type of assignments, the professional skepticism is the one which should come primarily. We should not doubt everything. Watchdog, you cannot police the entire thing. No, not at all. The professional skepticism, the moment you say that this number, there's some variation, there's no proper basis, there's no proper, based on historical data, this number that doesn't match with that one. Based on historical, it's not comparable. All those things you have to apply your professional skepticism and see whether something wrong has gone there or not. You have to go little deep into that one to see that proper number is given. If the proper number is not there, then you have to say this particular thing is not reliable because authenticity and the source of information and the assumption, whatever you have taken, have not been shared with us. Yeah. Just a minute, sir. My telephone is on, it's making a lot of noise. Yeah. So next one is the compilation engagement. Compilation engagement comes under SRS 4410. SRS 4410. This is very, very important thing. As I told in the preliminary presentation also, the compilation is the one which is relevant to the provisional financial statement or unaudited financial statements. So the year is over, 21-22 March is over, and it takes time for us to get the audited figures. In between, the provision data should be given. So on base, I'm an auditor. How do I give unaudited data? Provisional. Can I certify that one? We should not. Prima facie, we should not. I do agree. Provided you are giving an audit report thereon. Number two, you are giving a review report thereon. We should not do. Neither an audit nor a review. You can't do it. That is known as compilation. Compilation is the one where the information is provided by the client and you compile the data, make it in a beautiful, good format, and assist the management in the preparation and presentation of financial statement, financial information. These are the things that we do, whereby you are not giving any assurance. Let us say for a moment that trial balance is given to us. One entity is there, client comes, he gives a trial balance. He gives and asks us to prepare provisional statements. So what is the responsibility here? Normally, in an audit report or a review report, accounts are prepared by the client. And the profit and loss account, balance sheet, disclosures, and what are the notes on account, everything is done by the client. We don't do anything. We only sign there and give a report thereon. These are my findings, true and fair or not. Review report, positive, negative, whatever, what is the level of assurance. This is what we do. When it comes to the compilation engagement, it is the auditor himself can prepare the data, profit and loss account, balance sheet. It was already prepared by the client. He brings the profit and loss balance sheet. You can modify them also. And the client wants, sir, I want to sit with you and compile the entire data. Yes, you can assist the client in the preparation and presentation of the financial instrument. This is a complex because you are not giving any assurance here at all. It's only compilation. The compilation is not such an easy task. People may say, sir, after all, you are not giving any assurance. No assurance is given. What type of risk you are taking? No risk for you at all. Simply, kannu musko santak, but nothing is going to happen to you. They may say, no. It's not as simple as that. The moment a proper trial balance is given, it is the duty of the chartered accountant, the auditor, to prepare the financial statements based on the classification. The schedules you have to prepare, the classification is very important. If there are asset, whether that is a current asset or non-current asset, who can do that one? Only a professional has to see. A current asset becomes a non-current asset, a non-current becomes vice versa current asset. The entire ratios, everything will go for a toss. And the client may mislead, stating the current asset and non-current asset also. But who can do that one? Only professional can do that one, stating that is a proper treatment, proper classification is done as far as these things are concerned. I'll tell you one example because I quote current asset. There's something in the electricity department, like we've got distribution companies who supply electricity to the units. The electricity department, depending upon the current electricity consumption, you have to make a deposit with the electricity company, distribution company. That is known as, suppose an average electricity consumption 2 lakhs per month, but for you have to make a deposit of 5 lakhs rupees with the electricity company. They pay some interest also thereon. That is known as additional consumption deposit. They call it consumption CD, consumption deposit, which earns some interest also. So whether this particular item, the consumption deposit, is a current asset or a non-current asset. Because as long as you have got the business, as long as you run the business, this current consumption deposit will not be refunded to you. It is not something which can be taken back within 1 year or 365 days. It perpetually will be continuing there. Should you call it current asset, non-current asset? Suppose you call it a non-current asset because perpetually for a longer period it is there, it is a non-current asset. Then we have another argument stating that, sir, suppose my turnover comes down, the consumption deposit will come down. Suppose my turnover goes up, my consumption deposit will go up. Thereby is a current asset. That is not static. It's not something which can be recorded after a period term. It depends on my business exigencies. It will keep on, going up or coming down, whatever it is. Thereby is a current asset. So what do you do as a compiler? If it's an audit, you apply your mind, you see everything, you do it, because audit is 100% scope is there, you do it. When it is a compilation, you need not spend so much of time on that one, because only compilation, what should you do? That is where a professional judgment should be there. What was the treatment given to that the previous years? If you say existing unit, maybe it's existing for 5 years, what is the treatment? Suddenly they cannot make a current asset, non-current is current asset. Like this, the classification is very, very important. You need a historical data on doing. Suppose there's a new unit. You are doing a new unit, only 1 year is over. The first year information has come. You have to give a provision statement. Compilation need to be done. What do? You see the best, generally accepted, accounting principles, accounting practice in the country are applied there or not. But capital asset should not be charged revenue. Revenue should not be charged capital asset. Vice versa, the entire P&L account will go for a toss. It can be minus plus, anything can happen. But we have seen the Enron case. What has happened in the treatment of the capital asset, revenue, charging it to revenue, or revenue asset getting capitalized. All those we have seen. These are the things. Even a compilation data, though we are not giving an assurance, but still we have to use our professional judgment and see the proper treatment is given. So there's a lot of work need to be done as far as this compilation is done. Here the management, whenever you do such assignment, there's a pro forma for this also. Whatever assurance is given, whether you're giving assurance or not, whether compiled how you have done, for this also there should be an appointment letter for us stating that the purpose for which they want this compilation to be done. As I told you earlier, the compilation also, as I told you, the purpose should be known as for bank purposes or is for some other due diligence, selling, whatever it is. All those things we need to know. But the focus of our mind should be more on that particular area, though it's a simple compilation. We cannot escape from our responsibility that yellow number chases, sir. Last year 100 crores turnover, this year is making 100,000 crores to future. Making what sonna pakan better. We can't do that. You have to apply your mind wherever is necessary. Certain small checks and balances need to be done as a professional, because is SQC 1, the standard quality control is the mother of the entire thing. There's always there in the head. SQC 1 need to be followed to the extent applicable in these type of SRS 4410 also. Then comes the practice in the report also. As I told, 4 columns are there. Number 1, the management responsibility. What is the management? Is the management is responsible for preparing this data. This provisional data has been prepared by them. The source data is trial balance which has been taken from the accounts maintained by them and Tally, Zoho, whatever the platform they have. They have taken the source data. This has been compiled, or the management has given me the trial balance extracted from so and so source. Then I have to, that is the management responsibility. I am not connected with the number. Whatever the numbers is, I am relying upon that one. My responsibility is to report thereon or compilation of the profit and loss account, balance sheet, and cash flow statement. This is my responsibility. Then comes the opinion. Opinion is also that negative opinion, negative information is there. Nothing has come to, nothing has come to our attention that the material misstatement is there. That also should be kept in mind. But our opinion here is no opinion is given. Only thing we say, based on the data given, we have compiled the data. In such a readable format, we compile the data. That is the opinion. Then comes restriction to use. We should, members always remember, whenever you give a non-statutory report, that is, in the Companies Act, you give an audit report companies for the companies. That is SA 700. So when you do that, that's a different matter because you go with a standard pro forma. The intended user is you report to the shareholders of the company. There, you report to them. But wherever these special purpose engagements are done, the general purpose certificates are done, you have to mention this particular certificate, this particular report I'm issuing for so and so person to be used. Others cannot use this one. Suppose, let us say, the KYC is there. KYC is, there's a company, let us say, Prasanna Kumar and Associates is there, and is a proprietor. Prasanna Kumar is a proprietor. Who can certify this is a proprietor? Bank simply ask, sir, you go to your auditor and get me a certificate that your Prasanna Kumar is the proprietor of Prasanna Kumar and Associates proprietary concern. It may be a partnership also. It may be AOP also. Who knows that one? Nobody can say. They want a certificate from a professional. State is the proprietor. So the KYC is also. There are so many matters related to this particular case. I'll just take you through one particular issue. I'll how important that I'll tell you how important that. There's one something known as Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Mahatma Gandhi Medical Institute. There's a Gandhi Mahatma Gandhi Medical Institute, some XYZ institute is there. They're running a medical college, and the medical, there's one broker, some marketing fellow is there, in between medical college, the prospective student for the management quota seats. There's a management quota seats are there. This what he has done. He said, sir, you give me X lakhs of rupees, I'll get you my MB medicine seat in so and so Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Medical Institute. This prospective student, their parents, they believed, yes, this man is a good fellow, so let us go through him. Then he said, sir, your seat is arranged, everything is done. You please pay 25 lakhs rupees in advance. Okay, sir, I'll give it to you. In which to whom I have to give? If he says, sir, he given the name of Prasanna Kumar, they will never give. They will not believe Prasanna. Who is this broker by name? If I give, what will happen to me? He may take him for a ride. He may not repay me. He may run away. What will you do? They will not believe. He's so intelligent, that broker person. He said, sir, you transfer the funds to Mahatma Gandhi Medical Institute. You transfer the money. You go to the website, Mahatma Gandhi Medical Institute is there. They are running a medical college, everything is there. But the student and the parents, they believe that this my 25 lakhs of rupees is going to Mahatma Gandhi Institute only. They paid the money. How did they get it? If the money has gone to some institute, how this broker will get it? That is where the trigger is. He said he wanted to open an account, Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Medicine or the Medical Institute. Proprietor, this Apparao Polarov, somebody is there. He wanted to open that one. He went to Axis Bank. Axis Bank, I am a proprietor of this particular institute. I'm running an institute for medical, this one. So he opened an account. The Axis Bank said, I'll open it, no problem. You're going to be, you're already known customer, you're making a lot of deposits also. You get a certificate that you're proprietor from a chartered accountant. He went to another chartered accountant and told him, this is what, sir, I'm running a medical institute, some not a medical college, medical institute for some other activity. So I'm a proprietor, give a certificate. Chartered accountant has given a certificate, the PAN, everything, proprietor, the PAN card, everything is certified and given the statement. Based on this particular certificate, they opened the account, Axis Bank. This particular gentleman, prospective student, they have transferred 25 lakhs of rupees. Like that, many people have transferred the money. He withdrawn the money, he ran away from there also. All these people who got deceived, they made a complaint in the local police station that I paid the money to so and so, this fellow ran away, he's not to be seen, he's not traceable. Then the CBCID, all those agencies are there, this, investigate, they swung into the action. Finally, they found that this the same name as the property is open, this money was put into the amount, the account, that fellow has gone and ran away. Then they investigated the matter. Finally, they found Axis Bank was, sir, I don't know anything about this gentleman. He's a chartered accountant. The value for the signature of a chartered accountant is so highest. If the Prime Minister said that the Prime Minister does the signature may not have the as much as value a chartered account signature has got, I relied upon his statement and I opened it. Finally, chartered accountants were also arrested and he was found guilty by the institute also for the different reason. He did not have any KYC. Whenever you give a certificate, whenever you give any report, you need to have all the backup papers need to be there with you. Tomorrow, what happens, would not know. అందుకో చెప్పాను కదండి, క్లయింట్ తో ఉన్నప్పుడు మన క్లయింట్ ను కూడా క్లయింట్ లా ట్రీట్ చేయాలి. మనం ఫ్యామిలీ మెంబర్ లా చేస్తే మనం మునిగిపోయినట్టే. I'm not talking chartered accountants. It applies to all the professions, including doctors. We should never get into his shoes, not permit him to get into our shoes also. It should never happen. So, these are all the things, we come across in the day-to-day, disciplinary mechanism. So, already fear psycho చెప్పలేదు, జాగ్రత్తలు చెప్తున్నా. ఏదో మనం సంతకం పెట్టడం భయపడి సంతకం పెట్టడం ప్రాక్టీస్ కూడా చేయలేం మనం. సో అందు గురించి మనం ఎప్పుడైతే the certificate for the Mahatma Gandhi Medical Institute was the proprietary council was given by one chartered accountant. What he has to write, he has to specifically mention that I'm not talking about the veracity of the certificate. One line should be added: this particular certificate is issued for the purpose of Axis Bank to open account to restricted use. Suppose tomorrow the same client wants to open another HDFC bank, again he has to come to you and ask, sir, I want a certificate for this particular thing. You please give me. The data, the circumstances and the facts prevailing on the date of issue of that certificate and today's certificate may be different. That certificate cannot be used for some other purposes. That particular day, for that particular purpose, applied reminder gave the certificate. For a HDFC bank after 1 year, different circumstances may be there. Different situation may be there. Different type of documentation need to be done. So any certificate of issue, any report that you issue, other than statutory reports, you have to mention this particular certificate or the report issued for the purpose of use by so-and-so person only. Thereby it cannot be used by any other person. So these are the precautions that when you take. So as I repeat, whenever a client comes for the provisional projected statement, please take it up because it's a great professional opportunity for all of us. And I think I've taken over on the time. Ramdev, can I take another 10 minutes time?
Sure, Anna, regarding net worth also certification.
Yes. I'm coming to that. Welcome. So the next certificate, I'll take you through one another example, what need to be done. Turnover certificate. Turnover certificate is one of the simplest certificate that's going to be given. A turnover certificate, if Prasanna Kumar is a chartered accountant, he is the auditor, or some advocate is the profession for him. So his advocate is doing, all taxation because he may not be able to sign the audit report because he's not a chartered accountant as per statute, and they may be doing rendering all the professional services. He's a client of that advocate who is a tax practitioner. He comes to another chartered accountant asking for, sir, I want a turnover certificate. I want so-and-so net worth certificate, any certificate. As a chartered, we should never encourage him. We should ask him one question: who is our auditor or a consultant, whatever it is, a tax practitioner, anybody. If he says, without talking to him, we should not come, because had he gone to the auditor, that is an advocate or a chartered accountant, he must have given himself. Why he is coming to a third party? What is his preference, skepticism that he has refused to do that one. The chartered accountant said, this is a wrong certificate, I'm not going to issue the certificate. Thereby he is coming to another auditor. There's an advocate who is a practitioner. He is a client of that advocate. So normally if he goes to the advocate and says, sir, I want a turnover certificate, I am participating in a tender, advocate, though he cannot sign because the auditor signature record, he will identify a chartered accountant. Tell him, he is my client, he is coming to you, this is the data, please issue a certificate. Through him, it should come. If it directly comes, it goes to indicate he has gone to that advocate, practitioner, and asked him for the certificate. To get a certificate from a chartered, he must have refused. These are not the facts. I will not go to any chartered accountant to request him to give you a certificate. I will not do that one. That's why he's coming to you. So be careful in this time. This is normally it happens. When a third party comes to you, never accept them and do the certification, whatever services, even if they pay you hefty fees, we should never do that one. Because when it comes to no chartered accountant, no professional certificate, wrong data, but you bring such a great data, it is reliable. Auditor financial statement, auditor signature, everything is there. Based on that, he wants a turnover certificate. What is wrong? I am very safe. I return his auditor's audited balance sheet and P&L account to give a certificate. Certainly not. even he cannot rely upon this certificate because you have not done that one. He must have put the stamp and done the entire signature down. Who can say? Though you rely upon that one, you have to always, as a professional, you have to see whether the authenticity of this particular P&L account signed by another chartered accountant. You have to have the authenticity. You will not have the authenticity because figures have changed. So that to that level we should not go. I'll tell you in the certificate turnover, there's one case where from electricity board they want a turnover certificate to be issued by a chartered accountant. The third, based on the same chartered accountant, is an auditor also for him. His own certificate thinks he has certified the turnover match, no problem. They put one more condition. The turnover includes X crores of rupees being the supplies made that transform electrical transformers with so much capacity made to electricity board. That certificate also need to be given. Turnover is 100 crores. This includes 60 crores, a turnover related to the supply of transformers. That also was given by the chartered accountant based on certain information given. Ultimately, went for tendering was over. One fellow came L1. Other tenderers who did not get the bid in their favor, they made a complaint. This particular person who got the L1, he has never supplied the electrical transformers. Thereby, he should be disqualified. Then the matter went. The chief engineer thought, oh, this chartered accountant, it's a fact that chartered accountant gave a wrong certificate. And the case was filed before the disciplinary committee, and he was found guilty also because he did not have the proper information to ascertain that this particular turnover has happened. And there are so many other related things to be verified to give a certificate. So that's the reason why these certificates, whenever you give, apply your mind, charge a very good fee. Certificates, absolute assurance. Please remember, charge certificate with 2 plus 3 is equal to 4. There can't be anything else. Such a great certificate we are giving, such a great assurance we are giving. We have to charge adequate fees for that. Then comes network certificate. Network certificate also, it is something like the compilation data. The data has been given by him. I got income from agriculture. I got income from other sources. I got income from capital gains, salary, interest, so many things he gives. That's the income part of it. I got so-and-so, I know what you call assets. This is the value. And the so-and-so loans I've given to, I have given loan to, I have borrowed, network certificate, Ramdev, he has given 2 crores of loan given. Ramdev, the asset of 2 crores is also included. Like that, so much of information they get. What we need to do is, we need to say, though it is a certificate, we have to say that the assumption based on which you have given. There are certain things which are based on the facts. You're right, the basis is the fact that I have seen is, sale document, and I got as on so and so did, I got what you call that incumbrance certificate. There's no incumbrance at all. And I got the value valid by another listed valuer. No problem. If it's a listed value, you can rely upon that statement. Otherwise, go to the government value and put arrive at that particular value. The basis, the source, and the basis is very important. Similar for each and every line item, you go through the entire thing and see that you've got a basis for that one. You put that basis there. Based on this information I'm giving, I'm not giving assurance at all here. No assurance. This is not a certificate. Only report you give it. You report that based on this information, his net worth is so much. As far as liabilities are concerned, he has borrowed 100 to 10 crores from somebody else or 10 lakhs. How do you know? What type of information will be there? If it's an asset, you can call for some document. You can see some document to be verified, authentic document. If it's a loan he has borrowed, no information whatsoever will be there with us. Some private loan or something like that. So what do? You have to take affidavits from him. Beyond these loans, what I have done, I don't know any other loan whatsoever. You have to write in the report stating that for these loans, he said nil, no loan is there. This is the affidavit which are notary public signed. This affidavit he has given me, based on which I am not certifying. I am not giving the assurance here. I am only compiling the data. I am not giving a certificate. Certificate cannot be given because you don't have the authentic information at all. So don't call it a certificate. You call it a report, which is acceptable. Banks are a bank code culture stamp to something Monday. So this we cannot give a certificate unless you have full authentic information. Whenever you come to net worth certificate, you may have lot of data as far as assets are concerned. You can give a certificate also because you've got a basis for the entire audit evidence is there and valuation, everything is available with you. You can give a certificate. Absolute assurance can be given. But when it comes to liabilities, you cannot give. Liabilities was something which cannot be seen by us unless it is visible in some source, maybe bank loan certificate won't take. To that extent, we can capture. Beyond that, we don't have a liability. We can never believe that. You need to have affidavit and you have to make a mention. Subject to that, you can give a certificate also. This is the precaution that need to be taken. Suppose I'll tell you, take you another case written somewhere. US visa. Visa key, there's a pro forma given by them. The US, Canada, all those things, UK, Australia, and all are certificates. No, so they say current, assets, liquid assets, and non-liquid assets. Immovable property. Avenue 1, 2, 3. Last it will be income. Can you certify income? He cannot certify. We are not here to certify income, which is depending upon so many other factors. You may get, you may not, do not have information. What he very clearly mentioned, I am mentioning is income is my estimated income for the next year is mentioned here based on information given by I don't give an assurance here. It's only compared. He has told me I have mentioned it here. No assurance whatsoever given. You have to clearly mention. For other things, you may give a certificate because you have got all the requisite audit evidence is there. When the evidence is not there, we can never do that for. What very specifically put a line item there stating that I am not certifying this, only a compilation based on information given by him. I'm not other things you give a certificate. Then comes one more thing, utilization of funds. Ramdev చెప్పినప్పుడు అనుకుంటా యూటిలైజేషన్ సర్టిఫికేట్ అడుగుతున్న బాగానే ఉందండి. ఈ మధ్య కేసు I have seen there's a bank, private bank, they are given a loan. You see the working capital loan they have given. 10 lakhs working capital is given. So loan ఎలా అవుతుందండి? First there will be application for the loan, then there will be appraisal for the loan, then a sanction of the loan, then documentation, then release of the loan. These are steps involved. Now, documentation stage, they got a 30-40 list of documentation. All those things are signed. That's what 31st certificate they want from a chartered accountant. What is the certificate? Utilization of the loan. So 10 lakhs loan are giving, whether the loan has been utilized for the purpose for which the loan has been sanctioned. They want a certificate from the auditor. When do they want? Before releasing itself. Like 30 statement, 30 certificate double ఇచ్చేస్తాను తీసుకురమ్మంటాడు. I wanted to sir, in the loan release college, where the purpose are giving? No, లేదు సార్ అది ఇచ్చాక లోన్ ఇవ్వడం ఏదో ఒకటి ఇచ్చేయండి సార్ అంటారు. So we should not compromise there. They are insisting now. The bank they insist వాడికి ఏంటంటే లోన్ పట్టుకెళ్ళిపోయాడు అనుకో మనం వస్తాడో రాడో తెలియదు వీడికి. కానీ ముందే తీసి పెట్టేసుకోవడం మంచిది. ఏదైనా పోయిందనుకోండి ఆడిని పట్టుకోవచ్చు కదా. There's a professional who can be taken for task. అది కోసం అడుగుతారు to safeguard their own skin, to safeguard their own interest they ask. Wherever is historical data is there, we can give. Where prospective data is there, we can give based on, as I told you, our SAE. But other things cannot be certified. What simply deny. Our client will not point upon deny chesi. We will not give a chapali. If nothing would go to explain, release the loan. Then I will give the certificate based on the utilization. Otherwise, you cannot give at all. So then comes one more thing I want to tell you: income certificate. Yeah. So I told you ITRV. True copy routine అడుగుతారండి. ఆ ట్రూ కాపీ అనేది తర్వాత ఇంకోటి ఉంటుంది మన పాన్ కార్డ్ ఫోటో కాపీ తీసుకుని దానికి ట్రూ కాపీ సొంతం కావాలంటారు. ఆల్ దిస్ ఇస్ we cannot do what need to be done here is you have to give a report there on that a client has come to me asking me to certify this particular ITRZ. The information that given here in front of me, he came to my office, he shared his password with me at so and so time or whatever date, whatever it is, and accordingly he has opened and showed me downloaded this particular certificate. That is what the client has done. Then I take up the responsibility as an auditor. I verified because it has been downloaded from the income tax website, the e-filing site, whatever it is. I am putting my signature here. I'm not giving opinion here, but the statement is correct. This has been downloaded from the income tax website, which is for the purpose of authenticate. I put my signature there. This is what we're taking. Simple signature cannot be done whatsoever. And never do it unless it's downloaded in front of you. As I told you, 2 lakhs, 20 lakhs is such an easy thing nowadays. Anything, include tax, everything can be mastered. Now, talaka desi Ramdev Putanaga talaka pedestana meda. So everything can be the same. So like that, anything can happen. We should need to be very, very, very careful. Before I close my presentation today, I got the last item. That is regarding UDIN. Yeah, UDIN. Whether UDIN is required for all these things, UDIN need to be generated for the provisional financial statement and projected financial. Yes, UDIN is required. Wherever there is a signature on a chart account, blindly you remember. If my signature is there, if there is a report to attach to that one, I need to give a UDIN. A UDIN is a great achievement, and that's a great thing the institute has achieved. It started somewhere in 2013 on Aru. Now it has come last 3 years. We're having the UDIN. There's a game changer in the day-to-day practice of all of us, particularly small and medium practitioners. So anything that we said need to be there, including the projected financials and the provisional financial statements need to be there. Inka kavalsina you go to UDIN, UDIN, if memory goes, there's one FAQ is there. In FAQ, they made a special mention 4410. They made a special mention where the provisional financial statements need to be, UDIN need to be generated. Yes, you need to generate. It's very clear. So UDIN generate so normally it is there already. For every certificate, in other certificate, wherever it is, you have to make a mention and see UDIN is given. Otherwise, you should never issue any certificate whatsoever. So these are the few things I just wanted to take you through, but I exceeded my time. It was not my intention, but just to cover the subject. And Ramdev, I'll just take another 1 minute only. 1 minute only.
Sure, sir. Sure.
See, as I talked to my friend, there are some 37 certificates of this kind, which are with the clients come and ask us to sign. We have got the entire data were collected from Pan-India level. Those 37 certificates, including the provision for financials, project and everything put together. So a group has been formed by the institute, the Professional Development Committee. I'm also part of that group. So we are working, analyzing each and every document, and to see that how a FAQ can be given. Suppose you want to project the financial statements. So what is the standard under which you can give it? What precautions to be taken? What is the pro forma available? Similarly, for each and every 37 items, we are working on that one. Already we had one meeting, group meeting we had very recently. I think down the line we have some 2-3 meetings we'll come with the FAQ. And apart from that, for a general purpose statements, like I told you the general purpose of so many certificates, they keep asking, how do you deal with that one? Actually, there's one guidance note issued by the institute. The guidance note is guidance note on certificates. There's a reports and certificate, guidance note on reports and certificate. They relate to the general purpose certificate and general purpose reports. That was published in somewhere in 1984, but that has been revised in 2016. 2016 edition, very good edition, where the entire data, different variety of certificates, anything they ask, any certificate, whether financial information or non-financial information asked by a client, please do certify that. Do not certify, do report thereon. Because there's whatever the precautions to be taken, whatever audit evidence should be there, whatever report can be given, it is very clearly stated in the 2016 publication. That is available in the resources column of our institute website also. You can go through that one. There's a lot of guidance you'll get it. But I repeat, never lose an opportunity. Anybody comes to you for an authentication, you do it. Take the precaution, do it, is an opportunity, and that is the way we can serve the society also. Man damga sandam patledandi. Man certificate value na pettali. Man pettagade ekkadiki veltarandi atanu. Provision pettantaru. Maybe I don't mind losing my professional opportunity, but where will he go? He has to get some from somebody, and the bank or somebody XYZ needs that one. So let us do that one. Let us do our duty. But charge the fees, make us an opportunity. With these words, I thank Ramdev Bhutade and the other managing committee members for giving an opportunity to interact. Thank you.
Thank you, Prasanna sir. Just before we start our interactive session for another 15-20 minutes, one small rejoinder to your presentation I would like to have.
Please.
As you said, we can give report on the projected figures and provisionals. Seeing this Mallya case and Modi case, we have defrauded banks by presenting all this data, wherein our institute will not come to help, only CBI ED will come. So what is the safeguard we have in those events?
Yes. This is a very good question. See, we are not afraid of the institute. We are never afraid of the institute, because the institute understands what is that. There go the facts and figures. If you have done some certificate or report is given, based on what you are given, what is the level of assurance you are given, is known to the institute, because chartered accountants sit in the disciplinary mechanism, whatever it is. Maybe FRRB, QRB, everywhere you find a chartered accountants only. But when it comes to the investigation agencies, there's no permanent post there. You take CBI. Today, X may be CBI officer. After 3 years, Y will come. X will go back to his parent organization. They are not permanent positions. And they come with a different types of backgrounds. No, not a financial background. So when it comes to that one, the first thing, the moment some scam is there, maybe Nirav Modi, whoever it is, scam is there, the first thing they see is whether the role of auditor is there or not, because this is a financial fraud. So they don't understand what is the role and responsibility of the auditor, because internal audit scope is different, statutory audit scope is different. It's not an investigation we do. He is not a fraud detection agency. We do a true and fair of the financial statements. They don't understand. You may ask, so what is the institute doing? When they don't understand, you should do. But we have put up already, we taken the case in SFIO, and serious fraud investigation department, and CBI, everyone want to teach them that, what is the level of, what is the involvement, the scope of the auditor in the different types of assignment we're doing. We have done also some classes. But the problem here is we keep doing it. Again, this man gets transferred, another person comes in, and they try to catch all of us. Now the issue is, when we give a wrong certificate for which there is no proper basis there, or for which there is no proper audit evidence is there, probably we will get caught. If not today, tomorrow we'll get caught. When you follow the auditing, auditing standards of the institute, and you certify all these things, where no assurance is given, only compilation is given, or assurance is given, only moderate assurance is given with certain assumptions, I don't think we'll be into trouble. The trouble what Ramdev is telling is, it is there. The moment something goes wrong, they go to the auditor, arrest him, or put him blacklist him, whatever, XYZ, they keep doing it. So all those things are there. That risk is always there. Whether you do it a project statement or provisions data, or your auditor give audit report, that risk is always there. As long as the so-called investigation agents don't understand the scope of the auditor. This is not something special to this one. The risk is always there.
Ritesh, you can continue with question answer for 15-20 minutes.
Yes, sir. Mr. Amrut Kumar Kota has a question, sir. Yes. Please go ahead, sir.
Can I ask Ritesh?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Prasanna, this is a practical problem one of the chartered accountant is facing. The issue is like this. One MNC, one PSU is given a stock audit to their chartered accountant. Then chartered accountant did the entire audit, 100% audit, and he find certain observations. So that management wanted some draft report before finalizing the report. The chartered accountant given the draft report is saying that whatever they have given this thing, and he has found certain observations, and along with that observations, he has forwarded the draft report to the management.
Please proceed.
Yeah. Along with some initial observations, he has forwarded the draft report to the management. So in between, chartered accountant staff found certain other observations, and he could not pass on that to the management. And finally, in the final this thing, he has said no, he will go for a second audit. And for that, he has taken the permission from the management and has done the thing. There he found a lot of discrepancy in the stocks. Actually, the stock is in the grams, whereas they mentioned in the software it is in the tins. And that was a tin cost is something different and is in thousands, and whereas a gram cost is in the rupees. So he has calculated, software is calculated the grams multiplied with the tin rate.
Okay.
So it came to the around 3 crores or 4 crores stock for that particular product. And that staff is identified, and that has been reported to the management subsequently. Subsequently, now the management wanted, they don't like that item to be reported in the audit report. But the chartered accountant is already reported and is forwarded through soft copy. And the chartered accountant is also forwarded the hard copy to the management. That hard copy they didn't accept it, and they returned the hard copy to the chartered accountant. Now, from the top management, the chartered accountant is getting a lot of pressure, saying that that point has not to be disclosed in the audit report. But the chartered accountant said, whatever the final report is issued is a final report. He cannot do anything. This is the stage where the issue is this. Now they threatened the chartered accountant that they will go to the disciplinary committee. And chartered accountant said, welcome. You are most welcome to go to this thing, because I have all my workings with me. So in this scenario, where the chartered accountant stands and where how he has to deal in future. Because he's already submitted the soft copy. So he said, I have already submitted the soft copy. So there ends the matter. From me, I have even forwarded the hard copy to you. And subsequently, you have written that copy. And I am finalized my audit report based on this thing, and I have sent the soft copy. Soft copy is the final copy. He has even mailed that also to the management.
Yes. So actually, the moment he sends a soft copy and hard copy, that is the conclusion. Matter is concluded.
Yeah.
Suppose after issuing the audit report, there are some subsequent happenings whereby he came to know that there's a material misstatement in his own audit report based on certain facts which have been shared subsequently after issuing the certificate. Maybe some misunderstanding, not proper information like that. But he can modify his report, drawing attention to that.
No, here the thing is no, the drift between the draft report and the final report. In the final report is already mentioned what is the fact. In the
Yes.
draft report, he has not mentioned. So
Yeah.
he is quoting the draft report saying that no, in the draft report, you said no, there is nothing difference.
Yeah. See, even the draft report is there, is generally desirable that any report that you give should be discussed with the management before we issue the report. That's compulsory. So the moment you do the, because so that a proper understanding will be there. You may feel that you want to give a qualified opinion, and the management will have a lot of information to substantiate. There's no qualification required. Probably if you want, we'll put in EOM. Like that, anything may happen. So you need to have, the first thing is, he has given the draft report. The draft report and the final report, they are not is the same. Some other additional items have been put in. Auditor should have given the revised draft report based on the facts. That is the only mistake he has done. But
Yeah.
the report is
No, he has given a revised draft report also. He has mentioned that and revised.
now we welcome him to come to the disciplinary committee, and the charter will be found clean, and those type of people should be taught a lesson also.
And moreover, the date what he is mentioning, before that, the chartered accountant is given nearly 5 to 10 mails for the explanation for that.
Yes.
So he is having a full documentary evidence.
Yeah, the absolutely no problem. There's nothing will happen to charter. See, these type of threatenings will be there. I'll tell you, the Caro report normally we see a Caro on the maid audit report do it very carefully. But Caro could dilute it. So I tell you, there are some fixed register on physical verification of inventory. He run out of that. Clause number 1 and 2. The angels are normally we'll find most of the people may not have, and the small assets when recently there are hardly matters on some cases. And physical inventory generally we say that periodically they verify the discrepancy found or not material. There's a standard report which goes. There are some cases where the fixed list is not there or manipulated, or physical inventory was never done by them, or the inventory is also managed. But the auditor has given a clean report. The auditor, the company director, they know that this is not what is reported is wrong. The moment there's a dispute with the directors, director will dispute. So what the discontinued director, he made a report against the chartered accountant stating that he has given that physical stock verification has been done properly, were never verified, number 1. Number 2, there's always a variation between these two things. Number 3, some evidential, general evidence that this particular stocks are wrong. All this is put together. He has given a report ఇచ్చారండి. రిపోర్ట్ ఇచ్చిన తర్వాత the auditor was caught. ఎందుకంటే ఈ థ్రెటనింగ్ అనేది ఎప్పుడైనా కూడా మనకి ఇచ్చిన వాళ్ళు ఈ క్లయింట్ చెప్తాడు కదా, నువ్వు ఇవ్వకపోతే నేను రిపోర్ట్ చేస్తానని చెప్పేది, అది ఎప్పుడు మన మైండ్ కూడా వాడు దొరకకూడదు. ఎప్పుడు కూడా అది మన మైండ్ కూడా తప్పు చేయమండి. మనం ఎప్పుడు కూడా విల్ నెవర్ డూ ఇట్. మన ఏంటంటే మనవాడే కదా, ఇది 10 సంవత్సరాల నుంచి ఉన్నాడు, నేను ఇచ్చేస్తాము, రేపు ఎప్పుడో జరిగినప్పుడు మాత్రం వీఆర్ గెటింగ్ కాట్. So the case you have quoted is a very great case. The revised audit, revised draft is shared with them, and he stood by that, and we should appreciate him. We should appreciate the charter whoever it is for taking such a great stand about that. Good.
Ritesh, continue with questions.
There is a question from CK Hanmatlu. Why regulators judiciary making professionals responsible for careless lending by banks, and why not the regulator advised not to call for unwanted certificate from professionals?
Yeah, actually, unwanted certificate, that's up to us. Some client comes, I want a provision statement. So maybe as SR 4410 we can give. We don't want to give. We can say that I'm not going to give you at all. But there's a provision that will be given by the auditing standard itself. So there's nothing wrong in they coming. If you don't want to do, don't do it. But you cannot say there's an unwanted statement. Somebody wants to rely upon the statement which can be given as per the standards. They are entitled to ask for that. So the second, why the professionals are held responsible? So as I told you, again I repeat, this is an investigation agency. You know, so-called CBI, ACB and SFIO, these type of regulators, the moment something goes wrong, immediately they come to a chartered accountant. They say chartered accountant is involved. It's like ILFS. I'm not telling ILFS is clean or neat. I'm not into that because the prejudice case is going on. You know, they jump to a conclusion. After some time, they understand the role of a chartered accountant is limited here, and he's not. He need not be punished at all. They keep quiet also after some time. Initially, the reaction will be very harsh. Otherwise, it tells us at the moment, you know, there are so many frauds happening in this country. There are so many scams happening in this country. And you know, some scams, XYZ does it. It is reported in the media. Nobody bothers for that. Okay, there yet another scam in this country. Inko is yet another irregular in this country. But the moment they say a chartered accountant has been arrested, a chartered accountant is found guilty, a chartered accountant is involved in this one, the attention of the entire citizens of this country are there, because chartered accountants is put as the highest esteem, most respected and most dignified and most ethical practice that we do it. That is the reason the highest expectation we have. So something sensational is the news kavalante chartered accountant involved cheyali. Adi primarily they do it, and unfortunately we don't have solution for that.
Sir, my idea is what I want. Why I want to say this. Sir, they are asking for utilization certificate before sanctioning the loan.
Yes.
How it is? Why should they ask at all that certificate?
Yes, sir. Sir,
that can be prevented. We can advise the regular bankers not to ask like certificates like that.
Yes, yes.
Impractical.
Correct, impractical, sir. Sir, actually, Armand garu mananta same professionals unnam kabatti advocates maname unnam kabatti cheptunanu. See, the moment you say, sir, before releasing of the loan, how can you expect me to utilize the certificate? Adite, or in the bank or certificate is there. The Prasanna Kumar ichade, no endiki one cheptanu istadu. He client na Prasanna Kumar ichade, meer endiki Hanuman garu meevu mode etla sala antadu. See, mana professional tappu chestunnachchu. Ee case maatram, sir, we wrote to the Axis Bank. This happened to Axis Bank, sir. Already from the professional document, we wrote to the Axis Bank. This cannot be insisted upon. Our professional will not do it. You advise your bank.
Sir, we asked the same thing from the bank that give in writing what you want. Why we asked them, they are not giving it writing. When we ask them why you want this information certificates, you give that. We'll give it in complaints. Why we cannot give? Why we can give? Why we cannot give? They said we don't give in writing.
Correct.
See, I can ask like that. Some people may not ask.
Yes.
Why should bend before these people, careless people? They want to give necklace loans and make us to responsible.
Answer.
How it is responsible?
If something goes wrong with advance, tomorrow advance fail ayipindi, NPA ayipindante, scam undante, scapegoat కింద ఆడిటర్ పెట్టాల్సి వాడు. Scapegoat పెట్టాలంటే వాడు కావాలి, వాడు చాలా దొరికాడు, వాడు పెట్టేస్తున్నాడు. నథింగ్ బియాండ్ దట్, సార్. ఈ కల్చర్ అంతా ప్రైవేట్ బ్యాంక్ నుంచి వచ్చింది, సార్. సార్ దీని కూడా సొల్యూషన్ ఏమనుకున్నాడు, సార్? I told you that we are having a group now for these 37 certificates, whatever it is. ఇది అయిన తర్వాత we want to come with a small booklet about the certificates, whether can be given, cannot be given, what is being asked, and circulate to all the entire banking industry and all the regulators.
Yes, that is required.
అది terms of reference ఇచ్చారండి. ఇది కానీ ఇచ్చేస్తే we can show this is the booklet given by institute. I cannot give it. If some Prasanna Kumar is given, that is federal. I cannot do this mistake. He cannot ask for that. And we are involving Indian Bankers Association also. IBA కూడా మేము ఇన్వాల్వ్ చేస్తాం సార్ దీంట్లో.
Very good. Good news. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. There is a question from Mr. Ibrahim Mohammed. Sir, please unmute yourself and ask it.
Thank you, sir. Prasanna sir, in the upcoming booklet, my request is to include the documents which cannot be signed as ITR4, whereby banks ask in case of presumptive income, where client does not maintain any book of accounts, and basically their income is charged based on presumptive basis. However, banks are insisting just to cover themselves to get balance sheet sometimes in case of ITR 4. So probably this is also included as part of documents which cannot be signed as part of booklet. So it will be of good help.
Yes, yes. Yeah. It's a good idea. I note down this one. And one more thing I was saying, the client comes for purpose of filing return of income. For return of income, 44 ADL, yes, they file. So that digital payment, non-digital payment, all those things are as per the act. All those are there. ఇప్పుడు బ్యాంక్ కూడా వాడిని సేఫ్ పరిచయం ఇంకో పీఎన్ఎల్ అకౌంట్ అడుగుతారు. దానికి ప్రాఫిట్ లాస్ బ్యాలెన్స్ షీట్ ఇచ్చేయమంటారు. So where the question, but he has not maintained the books of account. Is there evident? That is the reason from my own office I filed 40 over 80 I filed return of income also. So what type of evidence you can నేను చెప్పిన 37 this is also there అండి. So I will add what you have told also. We'll see that this is also included. And Hanuman Nagar has given a very good idea that normally whatever certificate there, which cannot be given, we'll have one section for that also. These are all the things the banks ask. Whereas a chartered account cannot do this particular job. I think that also will put one particular section there.
Prasanna, here one suggestion I would like to share along with Ibrahim. Why only ITR 4? No ITR should be attested by, because it is already filed and it is all ITRs are bearing government stamps. So what more certification they want from the person who is filing the return?
ITR 4 అనేది ఫైల్ చేశారు అనేది ఓన్లీ డైరెక్ట్లీ యూ కెన్ డౌన్లోడ్ టు ఇన్కమ్ ట్యాక్స్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్. దట్స్ authentic information. Information will be wrong, but filing is correct, data is correct, what has been filed. So these certificate చేయడంలో we have to come with one guidance how we can give the authenticity. Only that is has been extracted from the income tax site. To that extent, we'll devise one particular format దానికి చేసి ఇప్పుడు లేదు ఫార్మాట్, we'll devise the format, give it, let us certify them. వాడి దగ్గర పాస్పోర్ట్ తీసుకొని డైరెక్ట్ డౌన్లోడ్ చేస్తే విల్ గివ్ సర్టిఫై దట్ వన్. దాంట్లో మనకి రిస్క్ ఇస్ జీరో. వీ కెన్ డూ దట్. దట్స్ ఆల్సో ఆపర్చునిటీ ఫర్ us. బట్ గైడెన్స్ ఇవ్వాలి. సింప్లీ సర్టిఫికేషన్ కాదు. ద ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ ఇన్ ద ప్రపోజ్డ్ బుక్లెట్ దే షుడ్ గివ్ గైడెన్స్ హియర్. దిస్ ఇస్ ద వే యూ కెన్ గివ్ ద సర్టిఫికేట్ ఫార్మాట్ ఇవ్వాలండి. దట్ విల్ డూ ఇట్.
Sir, there is one more last question from P. Satyanarayana Murthy. Government departments do not seem to be aware of ICAI regulations on certifications. They ask for certifications of future performance. What is ICAI doing in this regard? And the second part of the question is value of the work to be done in T, that is 18 months, completion period of the project with effect from 17/5/21, submission end date. So they are two different questions, sir. Basically, the first part is with respect to government departments, and the second question is value of the work done in T, that is 18 months.
Okay, as far as first question is concerned, we know the prospect of projected financial statement can be reported upon by the chartered accountants because we've got a separate standard as per that, with the assumption what you have, we can do it. So, the only thing is, whenever what is going on today in the entire banking industry is, they give one certificate of projections or the what you call the provisional data, we simply sign and give. And simply sign as per books, as per information given last time, thinking that we're safe. That is not permitted. If it goes with the proper report, we can do that one. There's no risk element, and we should do it also. Whether they understand or not, with the report, it has to go. The second part, I didn't understand. Second limb of the question. Ritesh, can you please respond?
Mr. Satyanarayana Murthy, can you unmute yourself and ask the question, please? We'll leave it, sir. The question is not complete, sir, totally, actually. Any other questions which member need to ask, they can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yes, sir. I have a question basically on provisional financial statements. Sir, I worked abroad before, So I haven't heard, this concept of provisional financial statements anywhere except in India. So financial statements is either audited, reviewed, or unaudited. So, and we find it uncomfortable also giving an attestation on provisional financial statements. So can there be some kind of guidance from the institute as to, instead of saying provisional, what are the best way we can put it, and what are the steps we should, perform in order to ensure that we are safeguarded from any risk?
Yeah, see, actually, provisional is a colloquial word. Rather, I agree with you. There's nothing not a provisional. I agree with you 100%. Is unaudited. Is unaudited. Unaudited is the accepted word in the as per standard also. Is unaudited financial statements. Yeah. Provisional is generally is in a day-to-day practice we're using the word provisional. There's nothing known as a provisional.
So yes, sir, we have done with the questions now. I request our President Sri Ramdev Putra for your.
Thank you, Ritesh. Before we go for formal vote of thanks, just Prasanna sir, just two things I would like to share with you. When our old golden days are going to come, where auditors or tax consultants were respected a lot. First thing, any clue on that? And second thing, regarding this attestation and certification work, no doubt lot of scope has increased, but there should be some safety. For example, for cash deposits during demonetization, when some raids were conducted by investigating agencies, when the concerned persons have informed that they have done all these things as per the advice of the auditor, that auditor was unnecessarily framed and put behind bar. So some sort of precautions are also required for that. So with this, we are a very beautiful presentation. And in concluding, I think you will take note of these two issues, so that we'll be very much delighted to see that we are at least having some safety, as you told that you are working out on what to do, what not to do, vis-a-vis certification and attestation work. Some booklet is also going to come out, and I request you kindly take inputs from other professionals while drafting the book. That will be very much helpful in bringing out a good worth book. Thank you very much, sir, for sparing your valuable time. You are in Hyderabad. We don't know where you are. Otherwise, we would have joined you for dinner also. Thank you very much. Now I hand over to our secretary, Ritesh.
Yes, sir. Now I request our past President Sri Amrit Kumar Kota to propose a formal vote of thanks. Sir, kindly unmute yourself, sir. Amrit Kumar. Once again, sir, once again. Sorry. Get it done.
Hello, is it audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Yes.
Actually, it is a privilege for me to say vote of thanks for my friend, close friend, and associate, Dr. D. Prasanna Kumar.
Thank you.
Yeah. Actually, Prasanna, when we meet in the social platforms, you are very, looks like an innocent. You don't know any of this thing. But when you come before the mic or camera, you really open your Pandora box. I have an association with you last 20 years, I believe. But I never knew that Prasanna is having that much of knowledge and that much of in-depth knowledge in the subject. So thank you very much, Prasanna. You have given a very good presentation along with the practical illustrations that made us very easy. Yesterday, we and I and President Secretary happened to meet at one social party. There we discussed see how whether we can go for this practice or not, because this is the subject only. This subject only we are discussing. It is very difficult us to sign. It is like a signing on the death warrant.
Yes.
Chartered accountant signing on the report means it is a signing on the death warrant. So now, especially you can see almost 20-25 cameras are on. Everybody is smiling because now all the tensions have gone. You are given assurance on behalf of the ICA that no, we can go for any certification, provided we have to take certain precautions. So thank you very much, Prasanna. And this tax bar is also making, conducting a lot of awareness programs to the professionals. And we are also, as you said, we are also started the publications. Recently, on our Golden Jubilee, this thing, we have given a
Oh.
brought out this practical guide to income tax appellate tribunal.
Oh, great.
So we have conducted the tribunal competitions, virtual, the real competitions to the students, and where the president of ITATS virtually attended, and then local members and Vizag members also physically presented here. So we follow your suggestions. In this regard also, I would like to assure you, if you can provide certain information, we even come with the publications of this ethical issues and practical issues of the certification. So we definitely contact with you, our secretary definitely will contact with you, and please provide certain information so that at least we'll start the discharge, because now it will remove the doubts in the minds of the professionals,
Correct.
which is really required. Because many people know, as you said, many people will come for, known people only will come for the visa certification, where we'll very careful.
Yes.
Very careful. That should not be happen. So we'll have to take the required information, and then whatever the certification, at least 90% of the background material we'll have to collect, and then we'll have to do it. That definitely will agree. And this session is really cleared a lot of doubts, Prasanna, and we are very thankful for your lucid presentation, and thankful for this thing. And all my members who has attended, almost 60 members at one point has presented, and all our stalwarts have presented. What I observed from this thing, all the seniors and stalwarts are presented. And our past president, Adusumali Venkateswara, has also seen somewhere in this thing. If he is available,
He is
I
not
thank
here. He is
him for
not-
the
Yes, yes,
attending this meeting.
He was also there.
Yes, yes. Okay. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
definitely we follow your suggestions. Then in case we require any further information or any other doubts, definitely we'll reach you, Prasanna.
Yes.
We feel that no, you are a co-member. We will not feel that no, you are a central council member. Of course, our wish from the tax bar is you should this term, you should occupy the helm of affairs. This is not only our wish, our what do you call our as we will wish, and definitely you will be on the top of the institute position, so that we can will be very free to know call for any information from you. Thank you very much, Prasanna, and thank you very much, President and Secretary.
You are right. Positions are not permanent. Friendship is permanent.
Yeah, friendship
Human
is
beings are
permanent, but
not positions.
but
They come, they
positions
go.
will no positions will give a lot of support to the other friends.
Yes. We should be work together.
So as we said, what to do, what not to do. So what to do will become easy.
Yes.
Friends are now occupying the helm of affairs.
Yes. Hello. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ritesh. Thank you, Ramdev Garu. Everyone, thanks a lot. Thanks for giving me opportunity.
I'm ending this meeting.